Sabina Briški from Creative Europe Desk Slovenia, the information office for the European program Creative Europe and its sub-program Media, which is the support program for the audiovisual sector, the media sub-program. We are here on the festival always, like for the third year, already co-organizing the expert program together with Slovenian Film Center and the Institute IPA, to whom we are thankful for their cooperation and support. And this is one of the main events this year here, because we are tackling a very important topic, the challenges of distribution, of the traditional distribution, how to tackle problems that you are facing in distribution. We will approach them from production side, from the exhibition side, from the distributor side. I'm very thankful to our guests, our international and domestic guests, who confirmed who came to Slovenia. And I'm thankful to the moderator, Tina Hajon from Croatia, who will moderate the whole panel. And you will be all invited to be we chose the small hall that you are more relaxed and ask questions, share your opinions. But firstly, we will give the priority to our guests. Firstly, I will mention Greta Akcionaite from Lithuania, from the Kino Pasaka. She is exhibitor and distributor, because you are coming from the upper, from the comparable country, small country. We chose this year to do a bilateral cooperation together with our partner office, Creative Europe Desk Lithuania. We are exchanging some experts, and Greta is here to share her opinion and share her expertise in the audiovisual field. Then we have Samantha Faccio. She is from our neighboring country, Italy, from Tucker Distribution Company, which is looking at the region, following what is happening. You were distributing successful Slovenian Class Enemy. You will distribute High Sun or Zvizdan that you are able to see tomorrow, or Zenit in Slovenian. Then we have Slovenian experts. First, Sonja Prosent, the scriptwriter, producer, director, who will share her case study actually on how she and her company have the special project to distribute her first film, which was shown in the competition in Karlovy Vary last year, Drevo, The Tree, and had some prizes as well here on the festival last year. Then Matthias Sturm from the Association on Slovenian Animation Film, who will share some examples of short film distribution, focus on animation. Blaž Bezek, the head of Voyo, the biggest VOD platform in Slovenia, and Jure Matičić from Art Cinema Network, who will also share his the example of the whole network and his own examples from his cinema, how you are distributing and showing films. And thanks again to Tina, who came from Croatia to coordinate and moderate this table. And now I'm giving you the word. And really be here to share also your questions and doubts, and maybe also some solutions.
Hello everyone, and welcome. I hope you had a great React lunch and that you are not very sleepy. I'm sure that this topic and our special foreign national guest will shake you up a little bit. I won't do a huge introduction because I think that we all know more or less which are the distribution challenging this recently. We have many threats as piracy, as new digital platforms, cable TV, and of course the role of distributors today have changed, and for sure they have to have many different creative strategies. And I think that these case studies will help us how to invent them and how to place better national Slovenian films. So I will be a great host, and I will give first the word to our foreign guest, and I will ask Greta to give us an overview of cinema that you are managing, and to tell us a little bit your report with national films, and how are you doing the programming, and what are you doing for boosting your national production.
Hello everybody, thank you for having me here. Very often I'm participating in some panels or debates with representatives from big markets like France or Germany, and normally they don't understand what I'm talking about, so I'm very happy to be among colleagues who would understand the size of our territory in our heads. I have some numbers from Lithuania. Yes, we can go on. So it's also a small country with almost 3 million people living there. Well, 3 million people on paper, but probably 2 million living and 1 million abroad. And the market, the film market, is concentrated in the capital, Vilnius, which is 500,000 population. In 2014, we have over 3 million admissions, which has risen in the recent years, and we have reached the 1.05 per capita, which is a great achievement for us. For many years it was below 1%. And the average ticket price is 4.4 euros. But the numbers, of course, include very small cinemas with very low price, and the multiplexes. Yes, this is our poor market share. It has also changed in recent years, as we have now a newly established National Film Center. We have more funding for local production and more films produced per year, which has significantly risen the share of the national production, of the national releases. And in the top 10 of the films in 2014, I think 2 or 3 are in the top 5. 2 or 3 are from Lithuania, which is a good starting point for us. As you see, we have very poor percentage in world releases. I mean, something outside of Europe that is not supported by Creative Europe, and besides from Hollywood production. Yeah, can we go on? So our biggest challenge is piracy. Probably you know what I'm talking about, and there are no legal means to control this at the moment. There are only talks, but it's uncontrollable. I hope it will change in the next few years. Out of 95 screens in the country, only less than 50% is digitized, which means that there are a lot of heritage with cultural houses that still have the screening room, have a Blu-ray player, and they have some 3 or 4 screenings per week, which are also considered as screens. But 95 screens per country is not really the number of actually working screens that can make your box office. We don't have a VOD platform, so the life of the film basically finishes after the theatrical release if it's not picked up by television later, which is not very common, especially for European titles. And I would say the average life of the film in the cinemas is 2 or 3 weeks. We have very strict rule that from the multiplex or the chain cinemas, that if the film goes below 10 first positions, it's taken out of the program. So some films just circulate for 1 week and then they're dead. And
sorry, Greta, is this happening even with the national films? I mean, they
with
stay for 3
with
weeks in the
some,
cinemas?
Yes, if they go below top 10, they are thrown out. Unless the producer or distributor has very, very good arguments to keep them in the program. Yeah. And we don't have national support neither for distribution of foreign films or for exhibition of films. So it's all depending on the rules of market, you know. We have quite many film festivals which attract a significant number of audiences, and they develop new models of distribution. They pick up from like 5 to 15 films per year for distribution. They circulate them during the festival, maybe a little bit afterwards, and that's it. So it's kind of concentrating all the admissions into 2 weeks and then nothing for the rest of the year. And new models, they are coming, but we are a little bit step behind, I think, because we don't have so many cinema events, so-called, or some day and date releases. We ourselves, we've tried to release a film with Tide Experiment. We found a new platform, VOD platform, which wanted to become a pan-Baltic VOD platform, and released the film also online. But now the platform has closed, so I cannot say anything. If it worked, we had 6 views of this film online. We've tried also to make some like events with very limited release. Our latest one was the movie Dior and I. We had only 4 screenings, sold out, and basically it worked quite well, because the admissions were something what we would expect with the normal release as well. So I think we will try to develop this kind of thing, which I heard is quite popular in Italy. I once saw a presentation, it works quite well. So that's our situation. We as exhibitor, our main activity, also distributing some films, but we pick from 3 to 4 or 5 titles per year. And we want to be sure to keep the balance, so we either secure some European support or some distribution support schemes from the production countries, so we try to manage the balance. And in general, I would say that to be a distributor of art house films or European films or something different than major distributor is considered to be a little bit strange. Yeah, it's not really normal. It's some kind of hobby. Yeah. Thank you.
It means you're not earning money by that. I wanted to ask you last question. And how much are the festival, like Vilnius Film Festival or other national festivals, influencing the release and the promotional skills of the national films?
National films?
Yeah.
They have some premieres of national films, but...
I mean, does it help then later to the distributor?
Well, it's... there are several opinions. Some they give the premiere to the festival, some producers or distributors, and some just hold it from screenings in the festival. Because as the market is quite small, sometimes you use all the potential of the film during the festival. And as the festivals have many titles, you might lose your film within many titles. So there are different models for that.
But you think that still there is an audience local for the national films outside of the festivals?
Pardon?
There is still an audience outside of the festival for national films?
Yes, absolutely. Now it's rising.
Okay, talking about the festivals and about the distribution, I will switch to other foreign guests, to Samantha from Tucker Film. Could you give us an overview about your distribution? I know that you are even distributing some titles from the Far East festivals and also distributing local Italian films, and that now you are even working with the co-productions in our region. So maybe this would be interesting to hear.
Thank you. Yes, first of all, a brief overview of what we do. As you mentioned, we are strictly related to this Far East Film Festival. Can you hear me?
You can also put it up and
Yeah, I think it's better.
Is
to-
this better?
Yeah. Or you can
No,
also,
take it off.
yeah.
It's better.
Yeah.
All right. I was trying to avoid that, but if I have to. Yeah, Tucker Film is part of a larger cultural association, which in turn organizes the Far East Film Festival, now in its 17th edition. And thanks to that, we have a sort of a priority platform to select films from the Far East when they're still in development or in production. So when Tucker Film was set up, it had two main goals. The first one was to look at local products, local films, meaning to try and give a national platform for directors of documentaries and fiction films originating from Friuli Venezia Giulia. And this is still, one of our main missions. So to really help local talents find their voice and an audience. Though the concept of local has changed through the years, because initially we thought of locals in terms of Friuli Venezia Giulia, but we are now looking to Slovenia and Croatia as well.
We became local also.
No, you haven't become local. Let's say that we've expanded our idea of region to encompass neighboring countries as well. And the second one is films from the Far East. In terms of films from the Far East, we acquire between 10 and 15 titles per year, and they generally go directly to television and home video. So we don't distribute theatrically, because we've tried in the first 2-3 years of Tucker Film activity, and we've realized there is no audience for Far East films unless they are really art house movies with amazing world prizes. For instance, Departures won the Oscar as foreign film. So that helps. But otherwise we focus on theatrical distribution only for directors from Friuli Venezia Giulia or Slovenia, or shortly Croatia with Hajsan. Having said that, we distribute theatrically around 6 titles each year, which makes us a very small company compared to the big players in Italy. Like Lithuania, Italy is a big market for cinema and for cinematic distribution, but that makes it a very complex context to move around in. Not only we are a little distributor, we are marginal, geographically marginal, because we're not based in Rome, and everything that has to do with cinema in Italy is based in Rome. And on top of that, we distribute films that are not mainstream in any way, so they don't find very easily and directly an audience. I think, I haven't calculated percentages, but I think the proportion of US films, national films, European films, etc. are very similar to what Greta showed us for Lithuania. And I don't know what you mean by European, but for us European is Western European. So anything which is Eastern Europe, Turkey and so on are already kind of
alternative.
Bizarre.
Yes.
Yeah, very, very alternative. So going through the challenges that we face, they are linked to the identity of our company, small, marginal, geographically marginal, etc. But they are also linked to the specificity of Italian distribution market. As I said, it's a big market with very big players. Big players have one new title every week, if not, or every 2 weeks. So we have to compete with really big players. Also, unlike other countries like, I think, Slovenia, Croatia, I don't know about Lithuania, where you have a strong market in the capital city and then few other realities, Italy is completely different. We have dozens of mid to small realities. So you literally have hundreds of cinemas, and to make up a good box office, you have to serve the entire territory, or at least from the center to the northern part of Italy. Which means in terms of energy, effort, promotional activity in the local reality, it is a huge effort. It is very difficult because your box office is not just made up by Rome and Milan. And other specificity, for example, is the fact that in Italy you cannot even think of distributing something if you don't dub it. So that means your P&A starts from 25,000 euro up, because that's the cost of dubbing, which is absurd, but you don't go anywhere if your film is not in Italian. I'm tempted to say if it's not ruined by the dubbing into Italian, but that's a different issue. Unlike what you described about Lithuania, we have in fact a wide range of distribution channels. We have cinemas, and even that you have different subdivisions. We have national TV, we have private TV, we have cable channels, Sky channels, and a lot of internet and VOD platforms are springing up. Netflix will launch the Italian version on the 1st of October, and I'm proud to say we are one of the few Italian distributors who managed to sell to Netflix, which is all very exciting, and it is true that it multiplies your opportunities for distribution and opportunities to distribute particular products, not just the mainstream ones. But the reality is new channels pay very little for their content. The only chance you have to get a good amount of money is if you had a theatrical distribution for your movie, which means you have to invest in theatrical just to get some return from the other channel. That has meant in the last 2 or 3 years a huge increase in films distributed theatrically, just for the distributor to be in a better negotiating position with say internet platform or satellite TVs and so on. So it's become even harder to place your film, because every film has 1 or maximum 2 weeks to really kick off. Otherwise, as Greta said, it's dead. And it's kind of tough because your season, your theatrical season goes from October to March. After that, very few people go to the cinema. You have a lot of very strong American, European releases, and to place your film within that context can be really tricky. This is for the challenges. How do we cope with them? How do we manage to keep going? We are still in a learning process. We've made mistakes in the past, and we've learned from our mistakes. So there is no easy solution, there is no magic trick. What seems to work well so far for us is, first of all, to treat each film as an individual film. So to find a strategy which is tailored around the specific film. We cannot even dream of competing with the big players, put our film on the market thinking it's a great film, people will want to go and watch it, because that's not going to happen. We look at the film, we identify one specificity and use that as a marketing tool and as a tool to identify an audience that could be very strong for that.
And in that way you're also planning the platform, no?
Absolutely, absolutely, yes. I brought some examples of what I mean by sort of differentiating the approach, differentiating the marketing, the publicity we do for each film, and how we try to reach the audience which we think is specific for that film. And if we will have time, I'll be happy to show you some examples.
Just one question in between to go back. Respecting now the classical way of theatrical cable TV and now VOD distribution, which are the times now, and how many of your films, let's say this year, you have distributed in the cinemas, and how many of them on VOD?
You mean the holdbacks between channels?
Yes.
It used to be 6 months or 1 year before.
Yeah, before
TV,
it was like
etc.,
17 months, but now I think it changed, no? With VOD
in
platforms.
theory, there is more flexibility. In practice, not necessarily. I mean, the practice is still there. So between theatrical and TV, we tend to leave at least a year still. Between theatrical and home video, it depends, because sometimes it's good to have your video out when the film is still popular. Sometimes it's good to wait for it to exhaust its potential and then to place it on DVD, not to cannibalize the theatrical. It really depends on the type of film. For instance, with the Far East films, we go on television first and home video second, because it works better. People watch the film on TV by chance, they like it, they go and buy the DVD. We've noticed that this works better in terms of timing.
But it also means more effort and more investment in the P&A, no?
Always. Yes, absolutely.
This is, I think, the
Yes.
big challenge today for the distributors.
Yes. Realistically, a P&A for a fiction film cannot be under 90,000, 100,000 euros. And that means we are not able to invest on paid advertising. We just don't have a budget for that, if not, say, 5,000, 10,000, which is really ridiculous. We focus a lot on a press office activity in order to have the attention of the media and then to have audiences asking cinemas to see our film, and cinemas coming to us to ask for the film. So this is a way for us of investing that seems to have a good return. And the other thing is we try to reach movie theaters directly as much as possible, to have really strong and good relationship with movie theaters, to supply them everything, to support them in any possible way, having a one-to-one relationship and call and emails and everything. And again, I have materials to show you, what we supply them with. And the second thing, to reach the audience, we are experimenting in social media advertising, in creating platforms that engage the audience directly with us through the interest in the specific film. I think I've run out of time, that's why I'm kind of rushing through.
No, we will go back on this topic
Yeah.
for sure. I would like to ask now Jure Maticic from the Slovenian Network of Independent Cinemas. What are you doing with your audience, and how are you programming and distributing the films?
Thank you. So first, a few words about the Slovene Art Cinema Association. It's from a few weeks back. It's 28 cinemas. It's mostly municipal cinemas. Most of them run by or established by the local communities. So in Slovenia, you'd say that javni zavodi. I don't know how you would translate that in. Yeah, public institutions, basically. Yeah. Institutes, or more likely institutions. So it's very different cinemas. To tell you, the reason why we came together is a very good and strong reason, and it was, of course, the digitization. We were in big danger of not even being able to run films if we wouldn't become digital, and most of our cinemas now are digital. Some are still video-based and have 35mm capacities and screen, basically just heritage stuff and Blu-rays. But most of the other cinemas became digital. The first round was about 3 years ago, and now I think last year was the last round. So now our biggest task is to kind of make it from this first objective, was digitization, to program strategies. So one of the first ones was to kind of join forces and make, I don't know, joint screenings, joint actions, maybe support a film and stuff like that. Then we took over the Filmski teden Evrope, that's European Film Week, which was quite a successful project. And last year was our biggest project. It was the National Program of Film Education, which was started at the beginning of the school year, and I think it went all the way, was it 20,000 scholars that saw a film and had a film education, 16, sorry, and had a talk or some extracurricular activity based with it. And all screenings were free. That's the main point. And five workers got a chance to be employed for 1 year, and we educated them in terms of dealing
From
with
the network.
Yeah, from the network. So the biggest challenge for the network from now on is dealing with program issues, of course. In that way, it's difficult for us because we're really different. It's kind of the same situation you see in Croatia. We have different cinemas, so it's 3 art house cinemas, which is Kino Dvor, Art Kino Odeon, and Mestni Kino Metropol Celje. They basically run 100% almost art house titles. Then there's different cinemas. For example, my cinema is Mestni Kino Domžale. It's a small town 11 kilometers outside of the capital. We run about 70 to 80% art house titles. And there's lots of different examples. Some people, they have to get up to 50% of art house titles. So that's kind of basically the limit we set.
It's like a program guidelines?
Yeah, it's a program.
They need to follow.
Yeah,
Okay.
they need to follow. I mean, it's not written anywhere. I just like to emphasize we all work for free. We're like enthusiasts. We're just a society that's kind of joined together, and it really depends. It's all quite voluntary, basically.
But this other, let's say, piece of cake of a great 50%
Yeah.
can even be a great challenge, no?
Well,
Something different that is not
Yeah.
just art cinema. Thank you.
Well, for some people, it depends on the challenge, you know. Most of the cinemas run, of course, Hollywood stuff. It's the same films that you would see in a multiplex. And others, well, just tend to take small pieces of the quality stuff that's basically played in multiplexes.
I mean, maybe there is something in between of the art film and big major Hollywood film.
Well, there is.
Where would you put Slovenian one?
Well, I was just coming to Slovenian films. Actually, we have about 300,000 ticket sales a year. So 125 go to Kino Dvor, that's Ljubljana. And
Half of them.
Well, almost half of them. And everything else it's the other 27 cinemas. In a lot of small cinemas, the Slovene films, the national films, represent a big share of submissions, basically. Especially if it's a very good year. For example, 2 years ago we had Razredni sovražnik, we had Panika, we had a lot of Čefurji Raus. There were 3 really big titles that amounted to a big percentage of attendance. So that is, in a way, something we like to do. We kind of support Slovene films. We tend to screen all the national films and usually make something extra with them. So we do talks, we do school screenings where you have directors coming, you have talks with, I don't know, if it's a film about drugs, you get someone that knows the film and you talk about it.
Junkie guy.
No, not necessarily. So yeah, we try to do all sorts of things with that. But in terms of distribution, for us it's really different approaches. One is of course the classical film approach. So it's the usual Slovene national distributors that distribute all sorts of things. There's a couple that distribute art house films. There's a couple that, of course, deal with the Hollywood studios. So you deal with different approaches. Another approach is that we try to work with independent producers. That's the
Yes,
animated
Sonia.
films, and with Sonia, yes. That's, for us, it's a very good approach because, in a way, a film gets a lot more attention if it's distributed this way. Especially from the producer, it gets a lot more PR, it gets a lot more attention when it comes to your cinema. Basically, it's got more support. That's it. And if it's not screened in the multiplexes, that's even better. A lot of our cinemas, the case is a couple of cinemas, maybe 5 or 6, they have multiplexes in their town, but others don't. Maybe they're like 10 or 25 kilometers away. So in a way, that's a big bonus because you can have a program that the multiplex
That is
doesn't.
diverse,
Yeah,
of
it's
course.
diverse, of course. And lots of things we try to do is with film education, not just the national program of film education, but also lots of cinemas try to develop their own programs of film education, which are really important for us. And in these programs, we try to stick to European films, to quality films, and try to kind of broaden the horizon for the kids in films, in terms of seeing quality films.
Yeah, I know that Kinodvor is very strong in this education program, but I'm also interested in this other 27 cinema which have a lower share. So tell me another thing. You have like a program commission who are selecting films or dealing with national distributors, or how do you do this program? I mean, every cinema probably has their own program, and then you are doing something common, or?
That's a big issue with us right now. We have no one employed that works for us, so it's just the people that manage cinemas kind of work together on specific projects. So one of the projects, for example, was last year's prize that was given out by the Art Kino Mreža was at this festival. It was Kajpa Mojca, which was a documentary, and unfortunately it was a television production, which means it didn't intend to be screened in cinemas, and the first fight was to get it open to cinema screenings. And then of course the national television had no budget for PR, no budget for distribution. So we kind of said, okay, we gave out this prize. It's a really nice documentary. It talks about the woman characters in Slovene film. It's actually really funny, it's really witty, it's well made. So we kind of dedicated ourselves to distributing this film, which came out
On
as...
the own network, 27 cinemas?
Yeah, just 27 cinemas, 28. And we did all the PR, we did the DCP, we distributed the DCP. That's without one person being employed. So it's all kind of almost co-working with all the other cinema managers and making it kind of like a shared system. I'll do this, you'll do that, and kind of goes around like this. But what we found out is that, of course, it takes a lot of time. Most of our cinemas are understaffed. Most just have only the cinema operator, so they don't actually have a programmer. So it's a big issue for us to deal with distribution as such. So with Kajpa Mojca, with the film that got the award and we distributed, every screening had a talk. Every screening was dedicated. We kind of put all our efforts into this film. But it proved a really difficult project for us because it took up a lot of time and a lot of resources.
And how did the audience react?
Well, the audience was happy
And
because...
which were the results?
Well, the results, I don't know how many admissions there were for the film, but in terms of, well, in my cinema, it was a nice attendance. We had a really nice talk, but we just had one screening. There was no potential to have any other screenings. Of course, it's a documentary. A documentary is a hard thing to deal with, especially if it's a documentary about female characters in Slovene films. That's a difficult thing. So, but still, with the talk, it went well. I mean, people that came there, about 140, I think, in our cinema, they were really happy about what happened. They appreciated that we tried to show the film, the documentary, because otherwise they wouldn't necessarily see it.
Well, maybe there could be a chance of like having together all the network, one small budget, putting everybody €50, and having one coordinator for the project, so helping somehow.
No, we did have help, but that's a big gap for us, basically, especially because the cinemas are so diverse in terms of program, in terms of how many people work for them. For example, Kinodvor has more than 10 people employed. In my cinema, it's only me and the projectionists. It's pretty much the same in most of the other cinemas. So, in a way, the cost of this extra person would be quite big. And as I can see, for example, the Croatian Kino network, they actually have people employed. I mean, they get support for the employment of the people.
No.
Well, we were presented this in the spring.
Yeah.
In Isola.
No,
We had the president.
Have people employed. They just have a president, and
Yeah.
he's also volunteer, and he's also from.
Yeah, but
He's from the cinema.
but the National Film Center, the Croatian House, they kind of have people dealing.
No, I know it very well. This topic.
Okay, okay. So he was
I
kidding with
want
us.
better now to no. The situation is that he's working for one of the cinema and he's
Yeah.
volunteering, and I think it's a great act because he's not working just for his cinema, but he's working for the whole network, and like they have commission and they're all volunteering actually. Recently they had a support of the Croatian Audiovisual Center, but it is not the support for employing people for working for the network, but it is for the project actually,
Yeah.
for the program project. No?
Now, our ambition is to get someone to be dedicated to coordinating everything in the Art Kino Mreža. But in a way, we do have a board that kind of controls whatever the Art Mreža is doing to set up priorities for the next year, for the next season and stuff like that. And then we have a group of people that dedicates itself to educating technical stuff. Which,
Manager, yeah.
which was a big problem. We've done it twice now. One was for the 35mm projectionists, and last year we did it for the digital projection, which was a big problem for us, basically. I mean, with digital, you open up to many new possibilities, and lots of people couldn't really grasp it because they were old projectionists working 20 years on the old machines, and then all of a sudden you need a guy who would basically need to be a computer guy, basically. And it's a big gap. But digitization, in another way, it opens up a lot of other ways of distribution. For example, many cinemas, we do temporary imports now of films. I don't know, you like a really nice film classic, kind of like, but you want to screen Pulp Fiction, no problem. But you have to invest in buying the rights, buying the DCP, translating the film, which is a big cost for us. Lots of films from regular distribution come without subtitles.
Have you thought about doing some programs like dedicated to Slovenian heritage, or maybe to some other format, shorts, animation,
we try
something
to,
more
yeah.
local that could have audience, national appeal, that would be stronger and that would also get stronger your label?
We try to do that with subtitles, especially the ones that the Slovenski Filmski Center, the National Film Center, kind of digitizes. Because mostly the 35mm capacities are going away. There's no way. And lots of films, the heritage films, aren't in a very good state. So there's just a limited amount of titles that you can screen. So we try to screen those, maybe not in our regular programs, but in the film education programs for certain. All the old films that are quite important to be displayed.
Matija, what do you think about distributing animated films? We are not anymore following just fiction films and the format of 80 or 90 minutes. I think this is a great opportunity also to launch something that is diverse, because audience of course have now the habit of television and internet habit. So this is even a nice challenge, I think.
Yeah, that's true. For the beginning, I would like to just give you a short description of the Slovenian Animated Film Association. We are not a distribution company. We are like a professional company, NGO, which is representing the authors and the professionals from the Slovenia in the field of animated film. And to show you what is the situation, it is necessary to describe that our country is a really low capacity production country for the animation. So what we produce is shorts, and we produced in our history just one feature length animated film, and we don't produce a animated series which would be comparable with the strong industry countries. So we don't have any 52 or 26 episodes series or something like that. So we are really limited from this point of view. And what we do in our association, we promote our films. And we are facing the problems with the distribution because most of the authors and the producers don't have a distributor of their films. So most of the films which are shorts usually doesn't come to the cinema screen. So it's really a difficult situation. And in this year we did an agreement with Kino Dvor, with the Art Cinema from Ljubljana, and I think it was the first time in the history of the Slovenian cinema that the compilation of the shorts entered into the regular programming of the cinema. So it was, I don't know how many screenings, but I think it was 3 weeks of the regular program with 7 Slovenian animated shorts. And this is something we would like to continue. We are also a voluntary organization, so we don't have all the energy and all the resources to really work hard on this distribution, but we are somehow talking with the art cinemas in Slovenia and would like to offer them this compilation of the shorts. And we also did some efforts in the way of the DCPs and to prepare a bit of the promotional material, but we cannot say that we are a distribution company. And then on the other side, on the international level, we are connected with the Central Europe countries, and we see that we are facing the same problems. We don't distribute our shorts, animated shorts. Also our friends from Czech, from Slovak, from Poland, from Hungary, they are facing the same, and we would like to develop a new strategy of the distribution of our shorts. We are really looking forward to apply to the Creative Europe call for grants for the digital distribution, and we are now in the phase of developing an idea how to do it. So this is one point of view, and maybe because I'm coming also from the independent production house from Ljubljana, I can say that we are also not just the producer, but we should work very hard on the distribution. And in this year we did an agreement with one of the national distributors from Slovenia, Karantanija Cinemas, and asked them if there is a possibility to put our short 3 minutes long film in before of the feature-length animated film, and they accepted it for free, of course. So our short was screened in all the multiplex cinemas in Slovenia, which is also something new for Slovenia.
This is something that you could do also in the network. We did kind of example in Croatia, for example. We had, for example, a short day for the 21st of December, and this is a great platform to launch short films, also animated, of course, in all the formats. But during the education on which you are working a lot, it's an even great form to work with putting a short film before the long film. And this is for sure something how you educate your audience. I don't know if you want to add something.
Yep. So another good case, you had Roja, right? Yeah. So another good case that we did in Art Malaysia was promoting an animated film called Maciek Muri, which is it's a very famous song that was kind of made into a short animated film. And basically we got a deal with the producers. They really wanted to show the film, of course. And each cinema kind of could decide where to put it. So Kino Dvor put it in front of, I can't remember which film, but I don't know. Well, in Domžale we put it in front of Frozen, which was really, it's the biggest title in that December, and lots of people got to see Maciek Muri. So, for example, our deal was to give 10% of the takings to Maciek Muri in that way. So pretty much everyone was happy, Maciek Muri was seen, and people that would never see it kind of got to see it. But in terms of incorporating short films in regular programs, there's really big debate on that. Of course, lots of short films deserve to be seen, but it's a difficult decision, basically. Because lots of times you kind of think, will I alienate my audience by putting a short film?
No.
Well, it really depends. It really depends. With animated films, it's really easy, basically. It's easy to do. But with feature films, it's a bit more difficult. That's a big debate in Artmeasure how to do it. So we tried to, Filmski Center gave out an initiative of the Day of the Short Films. It's the 21st of December. It's basically a European initiative which is really nicely developing. And Artmeasure, of course, joined this initiative, and this year will be the second year that we'll be doing it. And another outlet for short films is our cooperation with Agora Fătăr, that's the film academy. So they try to present their student short films in our cinemas. It's just this one night, and it's also a special program. So you would get film crews and directors coming to talk about films, and it will probably become quite a good event.
Sonia, tell us about your example. You have this great case study. You were the director of the film The Tree. And what was the reason? Why have you decided to have Kino Luna and the traveling project of this film? How did you come up with this idea?
Actually, it all started here in Portorož, last year's festival. Somehow it didn't push the films as we thought it would.
Who didn't push the film?
The festival,
Uh-huh.
in the sense of promotion.
Mm-hmm.
Like Greta said before, sometimes festival can take away the potential of films. So in a way, something like that happened. But still, we had nice screenings, good screenings in Ljubljana and some other cities. But a great thing happened also here in Portorož last year. We had a meeting with Peter Buckingham. I think Sabina invited him here. So we had consultations about distribution and so on. And he said that this film...
Maybe we should say a few words. Who is he?
He's
working for the company.
Head of British Film Institute, but now he's working...
Of the distribution at the British Film Institute.
Yes, and he has his own company called Sampdoria, and he is working very much with audience development. That's his first focus. So I think in that case he was doing this kind of advisory for you, maybe?
Yes, that's what happened. So he said that The Tree is a kind of film that would build its fan base. And these fans will stick with us and wait for our next film. So it will grow slowly, but we have to work on it. And he suggested that the best thing would be direct distribution, which means that film was going around Slovenia and we were accompanying the film. So
you didn't have official distributor,
No.
actually.
No.
You were doing alone.
Yes.
And you didn't even thought about having local distributor of the
No.
film.
So we did it like this, like you would have said before, with talks with me and some other authors from the team and so on. And it turned out really great because like our producer likes to say for our film, it's a hardcore drama. So it's really art house film. Nobody knew me, nobody knew the production company, and the actors.
You were not recommended, you mean?
And I was the first time director and so on. So it was hard to attract people to cinemas. And but eventually after, okay, so the festival was in this time of year, and then the film traveled around the festivals a lot, and so it had its success. and it went from mouth to mouth, and people got to know about it. And in spring we had some more screenings in Art Cinema network, and it was much better than right after the festival. Actually, in my hometown we also had only one screening, and it was on Monday, because the best days were booked for a comedy. And people were disappointed because many of them couldn't come and they wanted to come again and so on, but we had this one screening, so we said, okay, maybe we should just expand and follow the advice of Peter, and we decided to create Kino Luna. And actually we had this one great person who organized some of the biggest events in Slovenia. Not in cinema, but in other fields of culture. So she took over Kino Luna, and actually she did everything. We were just there talking to people, and one, I think a good approach was that, so we didn't try to bring audience, but
You came to the audience.
we came to the audience, and actually most of the time, many times, the audience was the right audience for our film, because most of the time there were places connected to classical culture or classical art. So let's say one evening they visited a concert of classical music, and next evening they came again and they saw our film, and it was perfect for them.
So the screening were inside of some events also?
Yes, most of the time.
And in how many
Connected to festivals.
and in
like
how
local
many cities you
festivals.
went? And how many
I think
screening you had?
in the beginning we said, okay, maybe we should go to 5 or 10, but then she took over and it was 20, 25, something like that. And people were really trying to convince us that we should return next year, and we said, of course we will. We would really like to continue with the project, and for next year we were thinking about, because also people came who would never go to art cinema, and people who don't have cinemas in their towns.
Because it was more event cinema now,
Yes,
so they felt
yes,
the
yes,
part
yes.
of the
So
event.
on TV they only watch like Hollywood films and so on, and for them it was so exciting to see a film which is completely different. And this is one thing that I really liked about the project. And I think for the next year we are thinking about, like you said, like a compilation of short films. I think it would be also great. So films that have a hard time finding its way to the audience. That's what we would like to do with Kino Luna.
And how much did you invest in P&A? How was working marketing? Who did that?
Actually, they did that. We just provided our film
So the
posters.
local
Yes.
hosts,
They took over everything, which was also great for us.
and you were satisfied with the work?
Yes, yes, because it was most of the time it was included into, like I said, like local festival or something like that.
Well, now my spontaneous next question would go to Samantha, but I would feel sorry if Blaž wouldn't have his time for his words. So first I will ask something Blaž, and then I will go back to you, Samantha, about these promotions.
You wanted to ask me something?
Oh, well, you can do alone, or I can ask you something. I think that you are the most important, that's why I left you for least, because I think that we are talking about this theatrical distribution, but something very important and very hot is happening on these VOD digital platforms now.
Sure. Well, as you probably know, we are currently not the only video platform. We are not the only video-on-demand platform in Slovenia. Now we also have Peakbox from Croatia. There's also in other countries. But we are quite successful, I must say. With this year, the results are really good. I must say that the main reason why is because we built our platform on our main free-to-air channels, giving exclusive content from TV, local content. But we also built our acquired content with distributors, many from Slovenia. We did 2 rounds of very strong, huge promotion of Slovenian movies, and that was a really great success for our service, a real image booster. Also some new subscribers due to that, because otherwise basically new subscribers to Voyo come from local content, reality shows and series and so on, but also with Slovenian movies, especially with...
Sorry for interrupting,
Yeah.
but I just want to ask, who are your subscribers? You know that? You have statistics about that?
Yes, we have statistics. They're very...
I mean, now that you said when you have
they're
that you
very
had a new
different.
subscribers
Yeah.
with the Slovenian film,
They're
this is
very-
interesting to
we-
know.
I don't know exactly for Slovenian movies, I know in general.
Okay.
Basically we have in all different kind of demographics, because we have telenovelas, which are daily watched. We have independent movies, over 700 currently on the platform, even more in the library. We have dubbed cartoons. This is a great retention content. Local content which attracts the masses, and giving something exclusive, either preview or a 24/7 streaming of the reality show is something that really boosts subscriber base. But if we talk about Slovenian movies, we did 2 flights of this campaign. We had 45 films last year on the platform, and we are very satisfied. We want to have more. We are always asking for more. Many times we cannot get the rights because co-production is in the hands of the national television, so therefore they would like us to wait a bit longer.
We don't
Sometimes
have anybody
forever.
here from television, or we have somebody
So,
to have a brief
so
feedback on this.
On the other hand, we also are very much interested in the shorts now. We have been in talks with Slovenski Filmski Centar.
I see, guys, here there is some business, you know.
So, but I will go back to you what you said before. So we are also interested in shorts. We want to show them because we also have a good promotion. I mean, the strongest promotional tools in the country with the 24hours.com platform, where we are always present with promoting our content, and also on TV, whether there is space with all the local content now and advertising. So we actually had one short movie, Kresnik, Ognjeno izročilo. It was okay, but just putting one movie on the platform is nothing. So what we are always looking for, and what we want to do now soon, this year, is to offer at least 30-40 short movies, so we can make a good promotional trailer and show to the public that there is something where they can choose from, that they can watch. So, for example, if we look at our company, okay, we have 2 free-to-air channels, Pop TV Kanala, 3 cable channels, but still on all these channels we have advertising, and we're always looking for content, especially on free-to-air, that has this common denominator for the public, so that you get the most of the audience, because we live from advertising. This is the only funding that we have, so that's the reality. On the other hand, Voyo is a little bit different. Still, we have to be careful, and we are always looking at the data, what is watched and what is not, and it is somehow very similar to television, but we have space for niche content. So whether horror or whatever, there is a place for that. We are also now planning to start this year in November with a webisode, 10-part series, 10 to 15 minutes, with YouTube stars, just to try this type of local content only for Voyo exclusive, and to see how it works, and maybe it develops into something bigger. So we are still in this testing phase. We've been on the market for 4 years now, 5. Before we were Pop Plus, now we're Voyo. So that's basically it. But yeah, as you said, it's an over-the-top service, as the industry calls it, and so are the prices over the top for the content. So it cannot be an alternative to theater or to television, but it can be on top, meaning that sometimes, yes, it can come into a later window. In other times, maybe it is even better to start on Voyo for some time and then go to theatrical. This is something you can.
It's a strategic, no?
Yeah, it depends from content to content. Yeah, if you want your content to be seen, then this is your main goal. Then I guess we're a pretty good platform. We have currently over 1,200 movies in the library.
And
Basically independent.
Slovenian?
45.
5%.
Give us more. Give us more. It's not something that it's not that we wouldn't want it, but this is, if we get it, we take it. So we work with Triglav Film, with Slovenski Filmski Center, Bela Film, Ars Media.
So what is the problem? The distributor or television, they don't give you a film, or you
No,
ask?
maybe we should just
Work on it more.
Yeah, let's say so.
So is here anybody who is a distributor, or?
I'm a distributor.
Great.
Actually, it's like I would like just to know.
Well, he just said, that he's searching for short films, for animated films, so Igor, I think this is a great opportunity for you.
Actually,
Make your offer.
No, we have a catalog of animated features, and luckily for us, the national television is very good in giving us a chance, and usually they give a really fair price, I would say. But of course, like the window, then it's the VOD is something else, and I think that they don't when they buy for television for the broadcast only, they will not have a problem if we go with you for the VOD, which would be kind of like a crazy situation, because then usually one is buying everything, right?
Yes.
Television rights are usually just 6 months, no?
No, basically what we want to do, is to have a package. But if it's not possible, and we have certain deals also with Slovenian distributors only for VOD, for example with Vertigo. Whether VOD is a problem or not, in some cases it was. I was not directly into the talks, but it was said to me that we have to wait, but I completely agree with you that television and VOD is a different story, especially if this VOD is under the paywall, because we are behind the paywall. I mean, you have to pay €7 a month to be subscriber of Voyo. So yes, I completely agree. There's no real, let's say, problem in this way. Or
can you tell us, probably it's business, so it's not public, but in terms of paying the distributors, especially like for short film, would it be by minute, or is it like a price that you propose, and it's a flat fee, right?
Yeah. We always do flat fee, although maybe at first it doesn't seem, it could not seem a lot, but if we would go per minute, trust me, it would be much worse for the distributors. For example, Voyo is also present in other countries in CME. They, in some cases, I know that they have this, let's say, viewing minutes, kind of a share revenue model. Yeah, because the share revenue model you can only make if you say, okay, this amount I'm willing to give to content, let's say 50 or 70% of my revenues. And then I will distribute it according to the minutes watched. We didn't go with that, and I know that basically they are pressed also from distributors in some cases to change that because they're not so satisfied. Yeah, because you have to know that on Voyo, of course, local content will be always by far the most watched. I mean, the television local content, our own local content that we produce, and also if we talk about films. The most impressions or viewing movies that get the most viewing are let's say, teenage films, Bad Teacher or Vaginalni Zobesa.
No, actually, it's really interesting because it's something new in Slovenia, and I know that in the rest of Europe, the VOD is working much better because it's at least 2, 3, 4, 5 years that it's been developed. But actually, with you, then the problem becomes when you have, as you were saying, like telenovelas, sitcoms, and everything together under one roof, right? So then it's you don't look for a specific audience, but you have them all.
We have them all, but we also look for the specific audience, just like with Slovenian movies, as I said. If we are always looking for exclusivity in some terms, yeah? So if we talk about Slovenian shorts, yeah, this is something exclusive. Where can I see it? No, okay, not nowhere, but actually it's much harder to get 40 films to choose from them on a platform, on a legal platform, yeah? And if it's correctly presented on our platform and communicated, then it's a success story for sure.
I think you will receive some calls.
Are you asking even for exclusive rights or no?
We basically
This is
do.
important thing.
We basically do. Most of our deals are non-exclusive, but in some cases also exclusive. But then, of course, that depends. It affects the price. So I don't see a real value in having exclusive rights for short films, because I know that if I have 40 short films, for example, on the platform, this is enough. Even though maybe if you sell it to Netflix in 2017, when they're supposed to come to Slovenia as well, probably, or Adriatic region, we will be the ones with the strong communication. But it will change.
And for the Slovenian feature?
Sorry?
And for the Slovenian feature?
The same. I cannot say, but I believe there are some contracts also with exclusive, but mostly non-exclusive VOD, whereas TV cable is always, I believe, more or less exclusive.
And have you think about any type of the collaboration with the network of the Slovenian art cinemas? This is a question even for you.
I believe it's a discussion after this panel.
So it's not public.
We haven't really, I mean, we're also developing from year to year.
I mean, I thought about this because you were talking also about the niche and what is coming out somehow from this dialogue, from Kino Luna, from you.
Of
It's
course,
like
it has to be step by step.
yes, and the need to have somehow a specific product and work with a specific audience and to create events and to create everything around the film, you know? This is where I want to go back to Samantha and to the strategies, which could be also a good example for our national, Slovenian and also regional, boosting distribution and promotional skills and getting more audience. And I mean, how can we do it? How can we co-deal it? How can we try to do it?
I wish I had the
There are some
answer for you.
types.
And what I can say is it came out quite clearly that events seems to be in some way the way forward. You know, they work, you engage the audience, they do work, you get the returns, and this is what we've tried to do. Creating an event means it works on several ways. First of all, you offer the movie theater a good reason to screen your film. And sometimes you even offer them an alternative way of programming your film within the standard programming, because you can, for example, promote certain movies as events. Let me give you some examples. The latest movies we brought to cinemas are a retrospective by Japanese master Yasuhiro Ozu. They've just been digitalized and restored by his production company in Japan. We bought them from Italy, and in that sense we invested a lot in press promotion. So much that journalists went crazy and movie critics went crazy. There was such an awareness by film critics that these movies were about to be released that the press response we had was really great. And we had cases in Rome and Milan with audiences crowding the movie theater, audiences being left out of the movie theater. I'm talking about movie theaters of, I don't know, 400 places, so quite big spaces. And this in turn created more audience attention through Facebook, because we were posting pictures of them waiting in the queue and so on. So we marketed them as single screenings, midweek screenings, because it was retrospective. So it gave us an option to get to very good cinemas in big cities, because we weren't competing with the weekend programming. It created the sense in the audience that that was the only chance to go and see the film, and all of that was enhanced by the media attention. And this is one example. Another example is in creating events, and it is somehow linked to what I said. We look at each film individually and try to find something which is unique with our film to market it and to promote it. And I would like to talk about Zoran, my nephew behind it. We have a producer here as well, which was released in October 2013. Zoran was the first feature film by Matteo Leotto, so a new director. It had we have a trailer here. Yeah. Maybe we have time to look at it, or shall I just give a quick? Well, yeah. Just to give you a sense of what the movie is about. It had a lot of.
It was in distribution here.
It was also, you know the movie already. What we did was, of course, to focus a lot on the personality of the main actor, which is famous in Italy, but at the time this was his first main role as a movie actor, because he was famous in theaters. We had a lot of sort of local flavor, and part of the local flavor was red wine. So with these elements in mind, we further promoting it with a big tour around Italy with the director and the actor when he was available.
And with Osmica.
Exactly.
So
and
the
with an
factor
concept we have around here, which is Osmica. And in the film, if you had a chance to see it, there is this yellow minivan the main actor, the main character drives around. So we organized a mini tour around Italy on board of a minivan with director and main actor, and in key cities we were actually handing out red wine to the audience waiting to buy ticket. We invite the audience to experience the film, not just to watch it, and that worked amazingly well. This said, each individual movie theater was supplied with gadgets, with flyers, with information. We always supply artwork devised for web activities, for instance, the skin for their website, the header for the Facebook page. Everything we can think of, we prepare in advance, we supply to the movie theater. Because I have to say that most movie theaters are quite lazy, so we even supply press clips for them to advertise for Facebook or newsletters and so on. And this worked really well. Another example was, we all know that the most difficult thing to distribute is the documentary. So we had this really beautiful documentary, again, first documentary by a regional director about an autistic young guy, and the whole story is about this guy who is in his late 20 or early 30, and he wants to have sex, but because he's autistic, he cannot have a good love relationship. He's denied access to an adult emotional and sexual life. And the director is a friend of his. They've been friends for a long time. So it follows the story of how to find a solution for this guy. And it's a road movie from Italy to Germany, where they have realities that can actually help disabled or autistic people. It was a kind of funky pop movie. We focused on the we focused on the topic in that case. Even though it was a beautiful movie, it deserved to be seen as a documentary, we decided to focus on the topic of autism. We actually put a guy, a colleague, on the phone for about a month, all day, contacting all associations of parents with disabled children, local association of families with autistic people, etc., etc., telling them the movie was about to be released, inviting them and putting them in touch with local cinemas to organize screenings. And we launched it as an event on the International Day of Autism, which is on the 2nd of April. Again, very expensive, very time-consuming, but you have to create in the audience the awareness of your movie. And either you invest 50,000 euros in trailers on TV, which we cannot do, or you have to devise very creative ways of doing it. So when I watched this movie, I was fresh from the experience in school, and I said, okay, every teacher has to see it. So we created a landing page, a sort of web page. I loved it. I'm a qualified teacher of English. So when I watched this movie, I was fresh from the experience in school, and I said, okay, every teacher has to see it. So we created a landing page, a sort of web page, but also there was a section. Let me see if we can scroll it down. Yes, this says bring the movie in your school. And bring the movie in your school. You had the list of where the movie was actually, in cinemas. But you, as a teacher, you could write your name, the name of your institution, and a message saying, I don't know, I want to bring my kids to such and such a cinema. The email came directly to me, and I had to take care of making that a reality. So finding a local cinema available for morning screenings, and finding a lot of cinema, willing to not to overcharge that, etc., etc., and liaising between individual teacher or school and cinemas. On top of that, we created as a team a school guide to analyze the movie, both from a few thematic points of view and from a point of view of the artistic elements. And this guide was available for free to all teachers. We sent it to cinemas, we sent it to our agents. The reality is probably we didn't have the number of morning screenings, school screenings we expected, because last year, unfortunately, it was a very big Italian hit dedicated to our most famous romantic poet. It was a biopic dedicated to him, so all schools went to watch that movie. But again, we created an awareness that the film existed, what the topic was about, what the kind of topic of discussion could be, and in fact, so this is the guide. It is meant to be interactive. So you receive a PDF. You can actually, where it says, analyze this scene with your kids in school, you can click on it and re-watch the scene from your computer in the school. So that if you go to the cinema to watch it, you can actually bring pieces of the movie back. You can elaborate it later on. Exactly. Pictures, etc., etc.
What was the outcome of this project?
Okay, if we talk financially...
I would like to know numbers a bit.
Okay, I think it underperformed. Honestly, we expected more. I have to be honest. We didn't recoup the P&A investment, which of course is always disappointing. But the reality is it didn't do it because the competition around that time of year when we went out was so strong that the movie was kind of squeezed between very strong films. Looking at the bright side, it lasted in theaters up to the spring. So it went out in October and there were screenings in spring. January was actually when I had the highest number of movie theaters screening it.
That's a very long period, yes.
Which to me is a success in itself. The second thing is that interactive platform allows me to have a list of teachers, next movie I have which is suitable for the school, I can contact them. When the DVD came out, I emailed each of them saying, you were hoping to have a screening, blah, blah, blah. just to let you know, the DVD is coming out. There's a law in Italy when the home video edition is out, you can actually screen for free in the school. So in a way, you keep the conversation going about it. And as I said, to me, this is a success. And then what I said before, because the theater release was okay. I mean, it did. Let's say admissions were around 40,000 people, and box office 40,000. Box office was around 180,000. It allowed us to be on a very strong position when we negotiated with the TV. We wouldn't have got what we got if it weren't for all the work we put into it. And the fact that we insisted a lot on the involvement of schools in the project was a plus when we saw to TV, because being a national TV, and it will go on the first 3 channels of national TV, of course, having an educational side to it was a plus in the negotiation.
Yes, it seems to me that you somehow used all the skills, no? You did really placement of the film, and this is something that is very important. But what is happening in our region now is, especially with the national films and with the small films, and we are all over past this major distributor and the big distributor, that there is no any more concentration to launch a small film. And it is not always the fact of the money, but it is the fact of the creative strategies, because actually is that now you need to think for every film in details how to launch it and what to do with it. You can't anymore use the traditional schemes because you don't come to audience. It's what we were talking also, no? Before.
And I think
the niche.
Absolutely, the niche.
Actually.
And the fact that you compete with, well, actually, you offer something which, even if a cinema manager recognizes as good, he cannot program because he is forced by the law of market to give the best slots of the weekend to a bigger distributor or to an American movie. So you have to offer them an alternative if you want them to screen your movie. You have to offer them as events, you have to offer them as retrospectives, you have to offer them as sort of midweek art house, niche film, etc., etc. Laziness is just not an option if you want to play such a
You can't afford
no,
yourself that.
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Jure Blaž, Samantha, another question following this one. Day and data release. Is this something that could be plus for launching national films? For example, putting it at the same time in the Slovenian National Independent Network and then on the VOD, or I don't know, and then putting it at Kino Luna to have more promotional television media attention. What do you think about that?
Okay.
No, first give the word to the guys that are from here. I would like first to hear them.
Yes. Well, I see it a bit differently, maybe, but okay. Of course, from my point of view. Basically, people, you have different experiences. Most of, if we look at Voyar, VOD platform service, of course, is available on smart TVs, on tablets, on phones, but still 70% of viewing, especially with movies a little bit more, is on laptop. So this is a different experience than going to theaters.
For sure. That's what I was saying.
Yeah,
it could be a plus.
It's different than going
no?
to theaters. So yes, I think it's a plus. But of course, it depends from movie to movie. I believe that for more niche movies, it's maybe better to have the date and to have it on the same date on all platforms. And for the, of course, for the flagship big movies, I believe still it has to be, in Windows to really to monetize as much as possible. For example, if we're talking about Gremo mi po svoje, we're going our own way. I believe that it's a huge success. It was a huge success on all platforms. I don't know about the transactional VOD, and it was very good on television. It was good good in theaters, and it was the best ever for a movie on VOD platform. So a real success, but of course it's a commercial youth movie.
Yes, and there is no problem for the commercial films, no? But we have to think even for the other films that maybe are not so much commercial.
Yes, exactly. I believe then that there is no that there is no problem in that. That maybe this is even more better for the promotion. If, of course, on the other hand, theaters have something more to offer. You know, in terms of experience.
He was there.
Because yeah.
Jure will tell us
I
something
believe so
about that.
I believe so as well, but you know, when we are talking about whether to release simultaneously or not, we always think about, okay, does this mean that there will be less audience in the theaters? I don't think so. I believe there will be more if we talk about more niche.
It's because you have the audience that we don't have. We're talking that the most content are watched by teenagers, old ladies, telenovelas. Those are people that don't come to the cinema. In terms of cinemas, this is the biggest challenge for us to get the teenagers in cinemas. Now is like mission impossible.
Cases from Europe show that they kind of experiment with first feature films in this way. So they put them on VOD first, and then they generate heat, and they go to theatrical releases later. In the case of theatrical exhibition, you tend to see from film to film again. I mean, it's really easy working with a film like Gremo mi po svoje, which was a big hit. But still, if we didn't go through all the things that you were saying, like calling teachers, come to the local premiere, you'd have the producer coming with the director, with the actors, you would make a big event out of it. And that kind of generates all this following, because people talk to people, they recommend the film. It generates a lot more publicity as opposed to just launching the film without any big attention or anything. So, I mean, with big Hollywood films, I really don't worry about that. They have all the promotion they want.
It's clear.
It's clear. But everything that's down from there or away from there, the more art house you get, the more you have to work with it. So, for example, with Glass Enemy, we had big success with school screenings. About 1,500 high school kids saw the film just in our cinema. But that was really working with teachers, inviting them to the premiere, going through the fuss to get the actors, to get the director to come, to invite teachers to come to the premiere, which is in the evening. Schools don't pay them for the time in the evenings, so it's a big fuss for the teachers to come.
And you have to have permissions and so on.
Yeah, stuff like that. So in a way, it was a big success in terms of theatrical release. Even not just for the school screenings. For example, in our cinema, we opened it in October, and it lasted till April. And we played it in our open-air cinema, and it was full again. So it was a big fuss, but there's lots of reasons for that. I mean, it opened in Venice, got the award, opened in Slovenia shortly after that, which was really, really lucky circumstances, basically. But then also an important thing, you couldn't see it anywhere else, just in cinemas. That's a very important point. If the Glass Enemy came out on VOD, it wouldn't do so well in cinemas, because all the kids would see it on VOD, basically.
No, we came back to this fact that for every film you need to do particular strategy, where you are going to launch it, how you are going to launch it, which promotional skills you want to use it, and you have to really work on it.
Maybe they would watch it twice, first on the VOD and then again with schools.
Yeah. No, actually lots of after the school screenings, lots of kids came up to me and said, "Hey man, can we get this online or on DVD?"
Parties.
Yeah, or anywhere. It wasn't on parties for months, you know, and that's a big plus for theatrical distribution, basically, because they would only see it in cinemas, but they wanted to see it on VOD or somewhere else, some alternative channel.
Well, I will give a word to the floor if there are any questions. I think that we talked enough, but we are still here.
Joško Vitar, Slovenian Film Center. Thank you to everyone to share your experiences. I think we hear a lot of very interesting thoughts, approaches, how to do it. And out of the discussion, I really found out, which this I believe now for quite some period, that speaking about Slovenia, that we are so small country that producers, especially in case of art house film, should diversify themselves or vertically develop and distribute their titles alone. Because they know they're moving, the film is creative usually, so they know the hints, or they have the ideas on what they will present it to the audience. They have the direct approach to the authors. If you do it with an art house movie, with the distributor, classical distributor, you will not get no added value actually. And on the other hand, if we count, Ira said 28 screens in art house and 2 networks in multiplexes. This is just 40 phones. This is a privilege of a small territory. And when I was speaking with people from similar, let's say similar territorial states, also in these countries, I think that the producers really start to focus also on the distribution of their films, because they should, And I think that I don't know, but maybe we will need to invest some money to teach producers how to distribute their own art house movies, and maybe to teach also the art cinemas how to distribute the art house movies, because some art cinemas also, I was very shocked when I heard the case of Sonia and her hometown. It's a really sad story, and I think that in this way we should work. I just need to add this. Thank you.
Well, for sure there are some new professionals and new roles, like online distributor, film distributor, producer distributor.
No, maybe freelance distributor,
Freelance distributor.
Freelance distributor.
For the small films, it's great.
Yeah, maybe this is an occupation for 1 or 2 persons in this country, to be freelance distributor, which has the network of contacts of all media, which has a network of all art house cinemas, and he will just move from the producer to distribute the art house movie. Maybe this is all.
But this is something, for example, that
Business
we did
idea.
with Dancing with Maria in Croatia, and it works. Dedicated small event.
Petra Božić from Art Cinema Odeon from Izola, nearby Art House Cinema, 100% almost art house titles, as much as we can. I would like to ask you, how did you approach the cinemas when you started the promotion of Class Enemy? Because
Actually, Class Enemy was the first experiment in contacting cinemas directly. It's something we've always tended to do, but we've become much more systematic in doing that. Something I didn't mention before, because Italy is a large territory, and because of the kind of geographical distribution of cinemas that I mentioned, with a lot of medium-sized cities, small towns, etc., with hundreds, literally hundreds of realities, we have to use regional agents, which are sort of in between us, distributor, and movie theaters. So when we started the activity, we contacted and we selected a local agent for each, more or less for each Italian region, or for macro regions. But unfortunately, what we realized is that, of course, they tend to prioritize movies from big distributors and not ours. And sometimes even if we have a strong tie, it's very, push it back or they postpone the release in their area and so on. So we weren't entirely happy about how they worked. With Class Enemy, we actually created a software system to get all the contact details of each movie theater. Part of it is long-term relationships of our company, because we also manage a couple of cinemas, art house cinemas in Udine. You meet them in forums, you meet them in whatever events there are, national events or festivals and so on. So you know them, you know some of them directly. With this one, actually I contacted them directly via email, by phone. First of all, I introduced the movie to my key agents, and I tried to push the idea of involving cinemas that are active in working with schools. So to go through the agents to create that sort of network. With some it worked, with others I had to do it directly, literally, pick up the phone, talk to them, sometimes checking the kind of programming they do, using, of course, all the contacts we already had, talking to them, convincing them, saying, how much we can supply in promotion that is materials that are ready for them to use. So in a sense, offering them an option to save time and to do the work for them, and unfortunately we do that a lot. And by that convincing them, sometimes you have to send them a screener of a film. Of course, having won a big prize, having been presented in Venice helped. The fact that we focus so much on the activity of the press office, we have an internal press office that covers Friuli Venezia Giulia and Veneto, so the northeast of Italy. With big projects like this one, we also employ an external press office based in Rome. And we work in a synergic way between the two. Our local press office already has very, very strong contacts with key film critics in Italy. The other one is very good at bringing them premieres, really having the right name, writing the article at the right time, and so on. So and every time I bombard my cinemas, honestly. Every time, at the end of the first or second week, I get really good press response, good articles. I put them together, send it to them, and say, have you heard this film critic has written this and that? So my idea is to really, sometimes I feel I'm babysitting them, and sometimes I feel I'm pestering them. But the idea is they have to be aware my film is there. I kind of push and push and push, or...
You're always present.
I am present, and I have to say, when it comes to commercial negotiation, I look at my interest as much as their interest. They know they get a fair deal. My idea is, let's work together to bring the film there.
In terms of Slovenian reality, you look like to us like a dream distributor, because we don't. If we would get like 5% of effort from our distributors, would be just.
Well, I hear that
sometimes we don't even know where the title will start in the cinema. We don't get the starting dates. I mean, it's sometimes just crazy, but now it's slowly changing.
You said before that he missed some stuff, maybe kind of collaboration. I mean, I know that you are very busy, but a kind of you can get even more Slovenian and Croatian films in that way. No, that would be a good offer.
It's definitely the direction we are looking into. To be fair, there's a team behind this. Of course, I'm the one picking up the phone and calling, etc., etc. But there's a team, there's a commercial director, and for each film we sit there for hours devising the right way of promoting it. For High Sun, if you want to sort of peep into what the strategy will be, when we bought High Sun, we got a lot of requests from Italian festivals, and I'm really talking about big national festivals to have the Italian premiere. and we realized that if we gave such a movie to a big festival, it would mean it would be just squeezed in between other offers, possibly world premieres. So it wouldn't get the attention unless we invested so much in press office that it was, you know, skyrocketing our P&A. We actually decided to give it to a smaller festival, which is festival based in Ferrara, Festival dell'Internazionale. Internazionale is an extremely popular weekly magazine in Italy focusing on international politics, news from around the world, etc., etc.
Journalists from all around the world and very interesting topics, yes.
Interesting topics, and we always felt that the audience of a magazine is exactly the audience of a film. So we decided to give a premiere to that festival, which has a very small list of side screenings, in exchange for promotion from them. So in exchange for visibility, in exchange for promotion, we asked, of course, to be, you know, the main screening on the Saturday nights, and we asked them to give us slots with their media partners. So we placed the film in a way that it is the main attraction of a festival and not just a side screening. We know we can have film critics at the festival and so on. And the idea was also to market it in connection with the topic. The war in former Yugoslavia, how to build peace, sometimes maybe even harder than to make war, etc., etc. So we decided to work a lot on analyzing the topic and proposing it in that way, which is behind the choice of the festival.
I would also like to add, and actually to describe us a little bit more the Tide experiment, because we here in the region we know in theory what it is, and please describe how you came in, which were the countries, what was the practical aspect, and also would you go through it again and how, yeah.
Yes, definitely would go through it again because it gives a great support for P&A, financial support. Well, okay, to start from the beginning, we were offered to acquire a title, and I thought it was too niche title, too art house. It was White Shadow, co-production. Yeah. So, a really tough topic, but a great movie, a great visual work. And later the sales agent said that there's an opportunity to join the Tide Experiment group, which means to join other European distributors, a group of European distributors, to release this film on day and date within several dates, within a certain period of time. I think it's 3 months. And to have to benefit from international marketing campaigns, some international publicity, and so on. So we joined the group. It worked quite well. It was an interesting experience, trying to coordinate everybody's strategy, to decide on one poster, to decide on one trailer. And as I mentioned, we got quite good support for promotion and advertising, which enabled us to work in different ways from what we did before, because we could afford something else. But then, and the VOD release, as I mentioned, it was 6 views during half a year. And it didn't affect our theatrical release at all, I think. But when we finalized the numbers, the expenditure is so much bigger than the box office. We had 700 admissions with big efforts, really. All our team was working on this title. We spent a lot of money, had a lot of partnerships, but there's no financial balance in that. That's why it's supported, probably. We would definitely join it again. I know there are more commercial titles also available on this experiment. I think it works, and it secures the distributor a possibility to try day and date, not to be scared of VOD, because now we are talking about day and date, but I think it's yesterday. Now we should talk about films being released first on VOD or never released theatrically, but getting the right amount from the platform, and to forget theaters and cinemas and just to have the money. I think the distributors would be interested in that if they get a decent offer. But I also wanted to comment about
Makes me cry.
I know. When Samantha talks, I understand that how lucky I'm being exhibitor and distributor. At the
You
same
have a
time.
place and you
Yes.
have content. that's for
Absolutely.
sure.
I would never be a distributor without a cinema.
Yeah, maybe we can take a mic from.
But I just want to finish with one example from Lithuania, which is going on right now. We had the upcoming national release of documentary film. It's a documentary about a photographer. And when you say that the producers should become distributors, so in this case the producer became not only the distributor but also an exhibitor, because before the premiere they offered to go to people's house and to see the film. Director and producer, they go together and see and show the film to the friends or family, whoever requests them to do that. So that's also a new model. So we have to, as exhibitors, we really have to think how to survive, I think.
But if I speak from point of view of cinema I run, I've been working for 5 years, and not just recently, in the last year or maybe 2 years, the results actually came up. I don't know how to say, but people started to come to the cinema. Because first of all, you have to build this brand or identity of the cinema and the cinema event. And you know, first few years you just work, and no one is coming to the cinema. And then at some point, just people start to come. Yes, but it takes a really long time and a lot of patience and a lot of love and energy. Yeah.
But then success is so much sweeter.
Yeah, it is.
But with distribution, I'm gonna just quote another example. On the other hand, you have to be really, really careful about combining the two roles. That can be very dangerous. The first Kino Dvor in Ljubljana opened, and because of the shortage of art house titles, became a distributor, and kind of started to distribute films not just for their own cinema, but for all the other cinemas, basically more small town cinemas, municipal cinemas. And the other distributors, the big distributors, kind of rebelled against them and wouldn't give them any of their titles. So that can kind of come back to you in a very negative way. So we're really, really careful when we talk about distribution.
So my conclusions are that we missed money, that we missed stuff, but that we have a good energy, very big will, and maybe even good films. Thank you guys, it was a very big pleasure to share your experience, and thank you to all that you stayed here. We will see each other next time. Thanks.